Hello everybody, it's me, Grim. Today I'm gonna be talking about my OC Sebastian and showing off a little redesign that I decided to do. And I'm no character designer, but I think this one's good enough for me. If you have any suggestions on how I could change it to be a little more fitting to the story, let me know. But let's start off with a little bit of context. This is my first image I ever drew of Sebastian, and in this picture he was kind of like a lumberjack type of thing. In this second image you'll see he's more dressed for the winter time. You could also see I made his hair quite a bit darker. In this last image you'll see he's more in casual wear but more fit for like a formal setting. I don't really know. With this redesign, I'm really aiming to get the vibe that he's more of a city person and not like a village guy. I wanted his silhouette to be a lot more bulky than previously. I wanted him to be more square but also round at the same time, giving him like a dependable but kind look, if that makes sense in shape language, because he's very angular in the face with the square eyes and the little droops under his eyes. Sebastian's story is he is a demon hunter, and I wanted to give him a casual look first. That's this first drawing that doesn't scream demon hunter in the city. The world he lives in is very much so winter based. They are stuck in a forever winter setting, so having him in warm clothing just makes sense to me. I gave him this puffer coat that kind of adds to that round silhouette that I wanted, and made sure that his pants were a lot more square than the top, balances the silhouette out a little bit. The world that this story takes place in is in a world I call 199. Demons have overtaken most of the outside world, except for 7 major strongholds across 7 continents where the rest of the human race lies. They live in a forever winter that's just kind of like an aesthetic choice. There isn't really a reason for it being forever winter. Maybe there will be one day. I'm rewriting this entire story as if there was a story to begin with, to be honest. It was just kind of concepts. But Sebastian, as previously stated, is a demon hunter, but not just a demon hunter, he's a demon bounty hunter, where he gets bounties from the black market to kill specific demons. Now, demons spawn based off wicked desires of humans. So if a really bad guy wanted to do really bad stuff, either himself turn into a demon, or he would spawn one based off his wicked desire and create basically the embodiment of evil. Now, there is a way to dispel demons, but this is a tool that is only used by the government and or enforcers of the city and generally the world. Enforcers are basically army people that dispel demons using a book that I will change this in the future, but it was given to them by God to rid the world of demons. And since only enforcers have this power, it's concerning that Sebastian, a non-enforcer, would have the ability to do this, because he has a book, which makes him a person of interest in the eyes of the underground world and in the enforcer's world. Sebastian has a younger brother, he's about 10 years old at this point, who has a disease that is based off of Huntington's disease. Now, it's based off of Huntington's disease, not Huntington's disease. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna call it yet, but for now, he's just sick. But like, terminally. So his treatment options are very limited. Sebastian takes bounties to get money to pay for black market medicine that is straight from the army's supply of like high grade medicine to help his brother with his condition. Now this is the casual design I came up with for Sebastian. This is how you would see him out in the wild in the city when he's not being a little rat in the streets. I tried to keep the color palette very dark and neutral with a hint of blue because that's his main color. For this next design, I wanted to give him a look for when he's out doing bounty hunting work. Now, he's not gonna look like some fantasy bounty hunter. He lives in a city, pretty much in the same year we do. So I was thinking more of like a streetwear look that is reminiscent of the second design that I ever did for him with the fur coat. I also wanted to make it more sporty in a way, even though I don't think this final design looks sporty at all. But I still think it looks different enough from the casual design that it works. I'm probably going to redesign this character again, and probably again. He's a bit of a mix of an old character that I used to have named King. I will try and find an image to throw up on screen here. Sebastian is kind of the love child of every male OC I've ever made up to this point. I decided it would be best if he had his hair tied back in this, and in this drawing you can see that I forgot to color the hair tie at the end, but that's whatever. I'm not gonna change that now, I'm lazy. And as I'm sure you can tell, I use Krita, which I've been using Krita for years at this point, but I still am learning new things about it. Specifically, my preference in brushes. I would use the same pencil brush for line art and sketching, and I've come to realize I don't really like that, so I'm switching to the pen tool in Krita. And I really like the way the lines come out. They're very thin, they're very sharp. They're not line weight eligible, which is a little different from what I'm used to, but I like the solid look. Let's talk about the walls a little bit more. So the walls, or strongholds, are the last bastions of humanity, basically. And I'm gonna go through all 7 of the strongholds, starting with Stronghold Tartarus. Stronghold Tartarus is where everything takes place for the most part. It is the most people-dense area in the world currently, so it's a really big city. And it's also the place with the biggest underground world, like Black Market. And then we have Stronghold Magnus, which is where most weapon production and trade happens across the strongholds, because it is in the center of most strongholds, so it's like the middle ground. And then there's Stronghold Cupid, which is basically Florida. It's a retirement community, which every old person and or family that doesn't want anything to do with living in a people dense or demon heavy area just goes to Cupid. Mono is a culture-rich environment. Don't ask me what I mean by that, that's just what I have written down. I will expand on that later. Then there's Resolve, material-rich stronghold that has a lot of wood and coal and general resources. And then there's Stronghold Alpha, which is a training base for most enforcers in the world. And then Wellsprings, which is a mining, like, quarry type living situation. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with all those areas, but I, for some reason, in the past, felt it was important to write down all that information. Which is weird, because I don't write down anything. So, I'll do something with them. Not sure what. If we focus back on the drawing on screen, we can see that I am basically making him look almost the exact same to his casual look. But that's kind of intentional, because I don't want him to look too different. I'm keeping the color palette from his casual look for the most part. I don't think I added any colors other than like a solid black. But yeah, that's the final look. Thank you for watching.